Good morning, everyone. It's Jennifer Victoria Bell, um, almost formerly known as Jennifer Church. It's very early here at 6 a.m. In Hawaii, in Kauai, and I'm excited that you're all joining me here. So I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to hop on, and so I can share all the goodies. Hi, Christy. It's nice to see you here. So, I had a big year, a really big year, and it led to a lot of, and it's not even transformation. The word metamorphosis is more appropriate for me because not only was it just a lot of people go through different kinds of transformation. Maybe they transform something in their mind. Maybe they transform their connection with spirit, with their own soul. Hi, Pauletta. And then maybe they transform connection with their body. But I had all of it happening at once. And it was a lot. It was a lot of transformation. So I moved from New Jersey to Kauai because I assisted a retreat on Kauai the end of last January, and the island basically started to talk to me, the energy of the island and Mother Kauai herself, and let me know and with very clearly that my life in New Jersey was not in integrity for me, and that I needed to make some changes. So I had been talking about that change for a long time. I had been talking to a lot of people about how New Jersey really wasn't the place for me, but I didn't know what was the place, and I thought it was going to be the Midwest. I thought it was going to be like Sedona or New Mexico, but that didn't happen. When I got to Kauai made it very, very clear that this was my home and that I needed to get my butt here as soon as possible. And so, and there was a lot that I had to look at within my own personal relationships after that that big message from the island. And some of you were there on the retreat, and you may not have even known what I was going through personally, because that is a trait of teacher of integrity. I'm not going to share until I'm in integrity, or I know, right, what's an integrity for me, and if it's an integrity for me to share. So I don't usually vomit my personal transformation all over people when I'm in the middle of it, because that is my natural way of being, to really cocoon it, to keep it to myself so I can truly, it's my experience, right? And then once I've gone through the experience and integrated as much as I can, then I can share. Then I can share, which is what I'm doing now. So I had a lot of change in my relationships, big upheavals, and personally and professionally. A lot was, I don't want to say it was completely unexpected, but the timeline shifted, basically, meaning I thought there was more time. I thought there was more time in these, especially the business relationships. I thought there was more time there. I didn't think that the shelf life had expired on that product, let's just say. But honestly, it did, and a lot of things just, there was very, I'm going to say, sharp endings. Very clear endings that had to happen. And it was very painful. I had a lot of, when I got back from Kauai originally in February, hi Ashley. When I got back from Kauai in February, it felt like my heart was being ripped apart. It was literally being ripped open. And it was very, very painful. It was a very painful process to go through. I don't wish it on anyone, because it was not just an experience it wasn't just mental, it wasn't just emotional. I literally felt physical heart reconstruction happening for me. And I had started right before that in December. I had decided to hold the devotion program. And for me, devotion is a big, big deal. Devotion it comes from my relationship or my deep connection with the dragons. That we have a devotion to being human as a soul, right? We have this, hi Tracy, hi Ashley. We have a devotion, right? And the devotion for me is not about just cultivating your intuition or your psychicness, because you really have to be embodied. You have to be spirit embodied. You have to be soul embodied. So when you're only working on the mental aspects of your embodiment, because a lot of people are, then there's an imbalance that happens. And so everything for me was being brought into balance, into integrity. And so I'd started the devotion program so that people could begin to tune into their structures, begin to tune into their energetic structures and their energetic receptors. And a lot of people aren't talking about this in this way. But what I was sensing, just from my long history of working with people, so I've been working with clients for over 20 years. I've been working physically on bodies, touching bodies for over 20 years. I've been helping people mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically for that long. So I have a wealth of knowledge and I have a wealth of experience. It's not just book knowledge, it's really wisdom that's come from that experience. And what I noticed is there's a lot of, right, we talk about negative energy, we talk about psychic attack, and I've talked about it a lot as it was part of what my offerings were for a long time. And what I realized is I would see this manipulation, right? I would witness manipulation where there would be a person who was giving you a reading. Even if you're getting a reading on Facebook, people aren't asking for permission to read your energy, so they don't even know what part of you they're reading, and they don't know where they're getting the information from. But the other thing that I noticed was that people didn't have an idea or have a clear sense or a clear embodiment of their energy. And because they didn't claim that territory, they didn't define that territory between their relationship with their body and their soul and all their energy fields, other energies can claim, right? If you're not claiming yourself and claiming yourself, mind, body, spirit, other energies can do that. And sometimes you give permission to those other energies. And so I started to do this work to help people to connect consciously to their energy fields, to their energetic structure, so that it would develop strength, it would develop consciousness and a devotion to self. And that started to break apart things in my life because I was offering something that is not being offered in many places. And it's also, so there's an old paradigm, an old way of being with energy healing and with psychic attack and things like that. That was breaking, right? It was basically breaking. Hi, Natasha. The new energies on the earth, the universal truth that we're whole and complete, doesn't support, there's an energetic incongruency, and it doesn't support that old paradigm of energy healing or psychic reading. So that once I committed to the devotion program, and then devotion to the chakras, and then devotion school, where I'm really helping people tune in and claim their physical and energetic space, my professional relationships started to shake and break. And because the people that I was working with, or I would say collaborating with, they were still in the old paradigm of energy, the old way of being. And so this new way that was coming in, that's more in resonance with the new earth structures, with how your soul wants to sing in these new energies. It didn't work with the old way of teaching, and I couldn't teach that anymore. Now, the way I was released from that program wasn't so pleasant because I had a commitment to stay, and it just didn't work out that way. But at its essence, what really happened was I couldn't teach that anymore. Couldn't teach that stuff anymore. I had to continue to teach the new teachings, the teachings that are in resonance with soul's truth and universal truth. Because for me, I want to empower everybody. Tracy says I'm the highlight while she's waiting at the Division of Motor Vehicles. Well, thank you. So it's my passion to empower everybody so that they know that they're empowered, so that you know what your energy is doing, so that you are consciously engaged with yourself, so no one can tell you what you're doing and what you're not doing in the unseen, because then you know for yourself. And you have this knowing based on your soul's truth and universal truth. And you have this knowing because really, it's the time of DNA. It's the time to really start to look deeper at DNA and look at DNA and look at how the DNA is expressing through ourselves. And those of you who've been following me for a long time, you know, but what I've heard from people is that I've age reversed. and part of that is working with the DNA and following my soul's truth and universal truth and getting my butt to Kauai. I'm not saying that that's everyone's place or that you even need to move, but you need to embrace and embody your soul's truth so that no one can tell you anything about you that's not true. And the new energies are different, right? It's also important to understand that the consciousness is opening, and that if you're trying to assimilate or integrate these new energetic structures from the earth, from the universe, through your old 3D paradigm mindset, you're not going to integrate the full spectrum of those energies. So I want people to understand why consciousness is so important, because maybe some of you are like, oh, well, consciousness is boring, right? Or what does being conscious do for you? And what it does is it allows you to define your physical presence. It allows you to define how your soul gets to sing in the world and gets to interact with the new songs of the earth. You get to do it. I don't want to tell you who you are. I want you to claim who you are. I want you to have a deep knowing of the truth of who you are. It's very important that you have that deep knowing of the truth of who you are, and that you know it physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, so that conscious connection with your soul and your soul's truth and universal truth, that's the foundation now. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Mallory. That is the foundation. How are you going to set that foundation if you're still using old ways, if you're still participating in a very limited, constricted mindset or consciousness? Oh, you can hear all the birds and so Kauai is an island full of roosters, and so you're going to hear them crowing. And since it's very early, they're very loud right now, but all the other birds are loud too. So they're supporting us right now in this early hour. For me, it's an early hour. So I wanted to explain how why conscious wizarding came into birth. Why I couldn't birth it before in the other collaboration and the professional collaboration I had. It couldn't really come through completely. And part of conscious wizarding, really, it's all of conscious wizarding, is helping you to strengthen your intuitive receptors through conscious connection to your soul's truth and universal truth. And I'll say that over and over again. But it's important to understand. We need to be conscious on all levels. And in fact, we're being held to a higher standard now. humanity is shifting, and we're being held to this standard where you can feel the consciousness of the earth basically telling humanity, that's like Mother Earth telling humanity, clean your room, tidy up here, organize, get yourself, get your physical expression, allow that to be defined through your soul's truth and through universal truth of wholeness and completeness. That's what's happening right now. We're being invited into a higher standard of expression, a higher standard of creation energies. And when you are, we're always co-creating. You're either conscious of the co-creation or you're not. And that's why it's important to be more conscious, because when you're conscious of the co-creation, you start to go deeper into your relationship with the elements. They're guardians of the elements. And in order for us to really co-create miracles, we have to have a certain level of consciousness. The guardians expect us to have a certain level of consciousness before they're going to unleash the full spectrum of magic that come through elements and how you work with the elements. So many of us have gotten in trouble in past lives for, we've heard these past life stories of being out of integrity or basically being a dark wizard or whatever you were told, or a witch, and you used magic for evil. Well, that might be true, but it might just be that you were following the evolution of density. There's a natural evolution of density. But at this time, everything is opening more. The veils are thinning and things are opening. And it's up to you to hear the call from your own soul so that you can be a more conscious co-creator. So that as we all come together, if we all come together in a coherent consciousness, we can shift a great many number of people on the planet. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to do energy work or read people without their consent or their permission, because that's violating free will. What I'm saying is, if greater numbers of us come into the coherent consciousness, it's cohesive consciousness of universal truth that we're all whole and complete, it shifts the collective consciousness. That to me is sexy. I want to see a shift in collective consciousness, and I want to know that my commitment to my own consciousness actually fed that, actually was participating in that shift. That's the work to me. That's the commitment. It's the commitment here. And when you make that commitment here, and there are greater numbers of us committing here to this heart consciousness, committing to the expression of our soul's truth through our physical vehicle, that what we can shift is amazing. We don't have to go out and march, honestly. What we have to do is come into the coherent consciousness of our soul's truth and universal truth. We have to come to this level of beingness and being present with ourselves and being present to love, even when we're in pain, even when it feels like our hearts are being torn apart. Like I told you in the beginning, I literally felt my heart being torn from piece to piece. I felt it physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, on all levels. It was excruciating. So I'm not saying that's going to happen to you, but what I'm saying is, when you have that anchor of love and you have that commitment to your heart consciousness, you know it's going to be okay on the other side. You know, because you have that support of your soul's truth. You have that navigation system, right? You have that, what we call God, good orderly direction. That's our navigation system. That good orderly direction comes from the navigation of being committed to your heart consciousness, being committed to the consciousness of love, being committed to your expression of your soul's truth, and being committed to the expression of universal truth through you. So, which means you have to be able to, even when people are not nice, when people are choosing to do things that seem like they're just, you would never make that choice yourself. You have to understand that they're also in the consciousness of love. You have to see them as whole and complete. That's another challenge. But again, that's what conscious wizarding offers. It allows you to understand energetic relationships because you understand your relationship to yourself very clearly. And it comes like that, right? There are situations which take a little bit longer and there's a lot of pieces to unfold. But otherwise, it comes much more quickly. The transformation comes much faster and with much more grace and ease. So that's what wizarding is to me. Yeah, it's sometimes difficult. But that is part of the beauty of what life is. That we are experiencing something difficult. And as a human, we have choice. We have free will. How are we going to utilize that choice? For me, it's always going back into the consciousness of love, even if I feel horrible. So it's the commitment. So that's what conscious wizarding is asking you to do. It's doing it in a fun way. It's doing it in a way where you can claim your consciousness, your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual expression in every dimension that you exist in. Because the primary relationship where you matter most, or where you exist and matter most, is well defined. We've had a pattern for many years that everything outside of us is better. An angel's better. An archangel must know more than an angel. Or let me just go all the way up, right, to source, or to, we look at source, or we've been looking at source as greater and bigger and better, except that we are source. We are created from that, so we are the same. So this is a time of equanimity. It's a time of, it's not equality, it's equanimity. It's understanding at your foundational level what you're created from. So those co-creative elements that are you, how are you defining them with your mind, with your emotions, with your relationship to your physical body and your soul? You get a choice in how you're going to define yourself. So define yourself in that relationship with love, with wholeness and completeness, and things really do shift. And we need to spend time in stillness and defining our energetic structures, defining our relationship with them, understanding the purpose of them, and giving direction to that relationship. That's what I'm inviting you to do in Conscious Wizarding. And you're also going to get wizarding tools. I mean, real wizarding tools, which are very, very fun, which are tools for magnetism, tools for balance electromagnetism, which is electro is light, male, magnetic is female, yin, electro is yang. So these are tools that will build up this, help to build your light body and all of your light bodies, so that they are in resonance, that they are co-created based on your soul's truth and universal truth. And how we get that is we also have to work with the DNA to get that, to unlock the full potential of your expression in physical form, your true pure expression of your own source, unique source energy in physical form. So that's what I have to share and offer all of you. And I hope that you are ready to start to consciously wizard for yourself. Instead of, because the other things that I hear, well, Spirit told me. Okay, what Spirit? How do you define your relationship with Spirit? How do you understand that connection to spirit? So when I hear that nebulous kind of statement from people, they don't have a well-defined relationship with themselves. And for me, it's spiritually bypassing, because then you're not recognizing that you're part of the co-creation. And you're an actually very important part of the co-creation. We are, think about this. In this entire universe, we are the people that are in a dense form. Humans, the densest form. That means that you have the ability to work and co-create yourself and co-create form outside of yourself and co-create form in your energy field in a way that no other being in this universe can at this present time. That's why we're here. Did you all get that? I want to hear what you have to say about that. I want to know how that's hitting your consciousness. Is your head opening up? Is your brain opening up? I'm going to say it again because this is very important. At this current time, in the universe, in our galaxy, we are in the densest form, humans. We are the only beings in this dense form that have this level of consciousness and this level of conscious expression with language. Animals are conscious. They don't have this way of expressing through words. We do. Right? And most of you are underutilizing your human expression. And you're also negating it, you're criticizing it, you're judging it. You're participating in looking at your humanness in a way that doesn't serve how you can co-create. So I want to turn that around. I want to flip that switch in you so that you understand how to access the magic of being human. And at this time, with these new energies, for creating new human structures and new earth structures. My goodness, isn't this where you want to be? Don't you want to play with your soul expression in the universal co-creative energies? I do. I want to utilize everything I can and get the most consciousness out of this form. And I want to create things that are created from the fabric of the consciousness of love. That's what I want. Yes, Tracy's like, let's play. Yes, 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 yes. That's what this is about, being here. Most of us have spent our lives, I've done it, where I've criticized this form. It's not good enough. It's not adequate enough. I'm not tall. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller, because I'm really short, for those of you who haven't met me physically yet. So I want to be able, I want to use this form and all the magic that it has, that relationship between body and soul and what it can co-create. I mean, I don't even know that I haven't even, with my conscious mind, tapped into all that we can co-create being in form. And that's what conscious wizarding is opening. It's like this, it's like, let's see what miracles we can create between conscious connection to body and soul with these wizarding tools, because that's part of it. I've been working on bodies for 20 years, people. All these tools are coming in, not just from books. They're coming in from my conscious connection to my soul's truth and universal truth. And I want you to be able to even open up tools that I don't know about. I want to see what tools you have in there. I want to see that conscious expression coming through you. So let's play. Let's finally find the joy in being human. It might not be happy, joy all the time. It's not supposed to be. But when it's not happy, joy, it's an invitation to go deeper. And even when it is happy, happy, joy, joy, it's an invitation to go deeper, really. So I just wanted you to understand what built all of this, and that the other people that are working with weren't in line with this. And we're still participating in the fact that the power is all outside of us. It's not true. It's just not true. The power is in here. The way to access that power, your own personal power. Your power, it comes from your connection to your soul. It doesn't come from something someone can give you outside of yourself. It's not even, I'm not giving you any kind of, there's no power I'm going to give you that you don't already have. I'm not giving you any power. I'm just showing you that, yes, your conscious expression is really where your power comes from. That's where it comes from. So we may have to go to places that feel painful or difficult, right? We may have to. But that's the hero's journey. That's the journey. And it's the shaman's journey too. It's all these important journeys. But we get to do it, and we get to co-create things that are miraculous. We're the only beings that get to co-create form. We are collectively co-creating all those trees out there right now because we know the word tree. Don't you find that amazing? I do. I do. So right now, you're all looking at me. You're all helping to co-create my form right now. So, because you're recognizing my expression, right? And it's registering through you, and it's being reflected back. So that's what happens when people see, when we interact. So I hope you can start to feel within your own hearts, within your own physical expression, your soul's truth and universal truth. And I hope that you will commit to that and to join Conscious Wizarding. And even if you don't join Conscious Wizarding, if you find this other way to do it, let us know. We want to know about it. But, my personal agenda is that you join Conscious Wizarding so we can all play together. So I think that's it for now. If you have questions, you can post them under this live and I'll chime in. I have a lot of love for all of you, and you can see like the light is coming up behind me. Isn't that nice? So the sun is starting to reflect back to me my own DNA, my own blueprint, and that's shining behind me and through me, and it's inviting you to feel your own truth through what's reflected to you through the sun, because that's how we create ourselves, is through the solar codes. Okay. So I will see you all in Conscious Wizarding. I'm holding that intention, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all soon. Bye.